Hi, I'm Drea and welcome to Vermilion Lane. Today we're going to be making ribbon wrapped wreaths. I've got, looking at my clock, 25 minutes until I have to be in the kiss and ride line to pick up my boys from school, and I'm telling you, we are going to finish in that time and have time to spare. So let's get started. Your materials for this are super duper easy, and you don't have to spend a ton of money. Just go ahead and grab yourself a 12 to 14 inch foam wreath frame, and you can find these in the floral department of your local store. And I like to use a jumbo roll of burlap for this particular wreath, but you can use any ribbon that you like, but I really do encourage you to get something that has wire inside of it. Once we've got that, then you can use just about any ribbon that you like. I'm going for this beautiful fabric. And it happens to have a wire too, but you'll find that when you're securing with your pins as you go along, you don't really have to have that wire frame on the top layer. So of course we're going to have dozens of our pins with a little pearl head, and we're going to have that pearl head on there so it doesn't slide all the way through into our foam. And I like to use Florist pins. If you don't have these, you don't absolutely have to use them, but I find that they are useful. So I'm going to give you a look there. I hope you can see it. It's got that flat head, and then it's got these two prongs, these two ends that come out, and I find it easy to really secure things onto my foam wreath frame when I use that. And I like to use my little wire clippers as well, and that's simply to cut down on, let me give you a look here. That's simply to cut down on the size of my florist pins so that they don't go all the way through my frame and then out on the other side. That would be less than attractive. So first things first, you're going to take your frame, and I'm going to do this like super close up so that you get a really good idea how to do this, and I really hope that you like that. And as always, please comment and let me know what you think. And so I'm going to start where I have this seam here just because it's easy. It's a good starting point. And I'm going to take my first layer of ribbon, slide it right inside, and then on the inner ring, I'm going to take that florist pin, one of the ones that I've cut already, just so that it's not too long, and I'm going to slide it and secure it right into my ribbon. Now I'm using burlap here, but remember, as long as you've got a wire in it, you can go with whatever ribbon you fancy. Okay, and so we are simply going to wrap this around, making sure that our exposed wire is always face down. And I'm going to double up over my ribbon. See how I'm doing that? I'm covering up that ribbon there. And if you want, you can go a little further apart, but I find that when I do that, I get that kind of accidental gap on occasion. And you should be able to get away with paying about $5 a roll for your jumbo roll, which here you can see is 30 feet. And if you notice the price there is 10 bucks, I got it for half off. So I'm about 1/4 of the way around, just a bit less, maybe 1/5 of the way around. And it's time for my pearl head pins. So I'm going to go to what will be the back of my wreath here, enter my pearl head pin, and I'm going to push 3 right in there. And that's going to make sure that as I go along, I don't get any bunching and, ugly stops and starts. We don't want that. So now let's flip right back over to the top and continue just as we were a moment ago, wrapping. I'm going to do that 4 times. So I'm on my last loop here. I'm going to come around. Then I'm going to flip my wreath over to the back. My sewing scissors are in my craft area in the basement. I don't feel like getting them, so I'm using my kids' school scissors. You, however, will use your beautiful sewing scissors to make that cut. So now I'm going to bend this over, and I'm just going to do that so that my wire doesn't accidentally stick anyone who's hanging this or handling this particular ribbon. Oops, I've got a little stray hair there. There we go. And now I'm going to go back to my Florist pins. And I like to use those because I really want to make sure that this doesn't fly away on me. I've got to cut this one and list my wire cutters here that I use for my jewelry making, which my daughter actually got me into. We've been making jewelry for a few years now. Okay, so I'm just going to really push hard and get this all the way through every layer of fabric, and so that you see that I have several spots where I've secured my burlap ribbon to my frame. And from here you can really do quite a few things. You could make this a summer wreath by putting, you know what, I've got one to show you. Or you could go for a sort of, you know, beachy theme and to use starfish and all kinds of shells and things if you'd like. Or you can continue working with me and we are going to add another layer to the one that we've made. So I'm going to take my super pretty ribbon that I'm so tickled I got for 80% off. It's like, oh my gosh, manna from the heavens when that happens. I'm going to secure it where I don't already have pins, and I'm going to go straight across with 3 of my pins here. Don't forget that pearl head. It's going to keep your pin from sliding all the way through. And you'll see that I'm not going to wrap in a layered fashion anymore. I'm simply going to make, I guess you could call it really sort of a sash here, if that makes sense, all the way around. And you know what, I'm going to flatten this as opposed to as I go. I'm just going to pretty it up when I'm done. I'm going to try to make sure I keep these spaces at anywhere between 2.5, 3 inches so that the whole thing looks perfectly uniform and super pretty. Now that it's just as I want it to be, I'm going to secure it with ribbons again right along the back, and I'm going to do it on every single piece of the ribbon. Here we go. 3 across, just like that. Make sure to pull your ribbon up. Make sure it's nice and taut so that we know it's gorgeous on the other side. And again, 1, 2, 3. Looks like I'm going to have to go downstairs after all and get some more pins. So I'll do that and meet you back here when I'm all finished. So seriously, how easy was that? Not only did I finish in plenty of time to go pick up my boys in the next few minutes, I've actually got time to make a bow. Try my burlap wreath tutorial if you'd like me to talk you through how to make that 6-loop ribbon bow. At the end of that video, I do a whole tutorial on how to quickly make a really nice large wreath bow. Thanks so much for joining me on Vermilion Lane today. I can't wait to see how your wreaths turn out. Keep the comments coming, keep the pictures coming, and don't forget to check me out on vermilionlane.com for this and lots more cooking, crafts, and culture. Bye guys.